Hi, J-Man here. Today I'll be building an Iflight DC3 HD quadcopter. Okay, I started laying out the components a bit and I found that Iflight changed the way they mount the camera. So on the pictures I see, which I will show, I see carbon fiber plates here, and I think the camera mounts a little bit more to the backwards, to the back of the quad. And now I see TPU mounts here, and it's not a mistake. I checked with the supplier of my frame, and they confirmed to me that this is the new design, and it's even on the plan, as you can see here. So I'm disappointed in Iflight to see that. I think it's lower quality actually. The first thing that will hit the ground when you crash like this, straight down, is of course the camera, especially since this is already a dead cat style frame, so these arms are quite straight and not to the front of the quad. So there's a really high probability that you will smash your camera into the ground, and I want to avoid that since it's quite expensive DJI camera. Maybe you remember this build. If you don't, go check out the video. This started off as a Gapper C rocket, which I transformed to gain 50% more flight time and bigger punch. Here the camera is also sticking out, as you can see, but it doesn't matter much because you see when the quad will crash, the camera can never touch the ground. So this one is okay. Okay, let's get building. First thing I want to do is take these bolts. They're metal ones. They're supplied with the Iflight Succex-d F7 stack. I'm gonna put some nuts on them and actually tighten them down to the frame. And you really wanna tighten them pretty well here. I'll do that off camera. These I already tightened, and as you can see they're really tight. That's good. I didn't do this with, I didn't take nylon nuts for it. You really want to take good metal nuts for this. This will hold the stack. I did see for the stack that, you can see it like this. You see that the feet, they're actually not long enough. So if you would place this directly onto the frame, then this connector will still touch your frame, and you don't want that because then that renders the rubber gummies useless, because still the vibrations will transfer through this connector into the board, so it's pretty useless then. That's why if you mount the bolts like this and you put these nuts there, they tighten down the bolts, but also they are already a bit of an extra standoff, creating some space and making sure that this connector doesn't touch your frame anymore. You may want to add some blue Loctite to these bolts while you're at it, just to make sure they don't come loose. Okay, so this is how I want to position the stack. I think in the bind and fly it's the same way, with the battery tabs pointing towards the back. If I do this, then actually if you put the top on, I want to have my battery lead here, because to make it nice and easy to plug in the battery, when I can sit it like that and then plug it in like that. And this, I can actually zip tie the wires down there. You'll see. Which leaves the capacitor. The only place to put this is like this, I believe. So if I put it there, that is just enough clearance in the height. You see, it just won't touch. You can just, standoffs will just clear it. Everything on there. I'm gonna put some heat shrink around these capacitor leads first. let's pre-tin everything. Put the battery lead on first. Looks good. Now the capacitor, it has a minus on here, so be sure to solder that to the minus. I'm quite happy with that. Let's see if we can actually put the flight controller on. It's snuggly, but yeah, there we go. Good. I'm happy. This will be something like this. It's okay, good. Next I'll be installing the motors. And you can just use the screws that are supplied with the kit or with the motor. So they already have Loctite on them, so just screw them in. I'll be sliding the wires through the stack, like so. Because then I can solder the wires from the inside out and nothing will be sticking out here. Standard also done like that. Okay, with all the motor wires tucked in, add some flux to the motor pads and pre-tin them. Of course, it would have been easier if I would have done that before I routed the cables through the stack, but okay. There's a hole there. This bracket needs to fit there. So I'm already going to just put it there. Oops. So that I know that my wires will be long enough when I cut them. Next I'll be taping the motor wires to the frame, but in my case I'm gonna just use preliminary tape. Otherwise I would use this tape, which is way better, but I'm still gonna loosen it up afterwards because I intend to plasti dip the stack, and then I need to take the motors and the electronics off to do that. Okay, let's cut these motor wires to length. took off the flight controller, bended the capacitor a bit up again, and then bended outwards the flight controller. Made it a lot easier to solder. Next I'll be wiping off what I soldered with some alcohol and a cotton swab, just to get rid of all the flux that may be on there. Let it dry a bit, won't take long. And then I'm gonna be covering the ESC with some plastic dip. Also I'll be covering the flight controller with some plastic dip as well. So make sure you have when you do this, make sure you have a rubber plug in the USB connection. This stuff is supposed to be a lot more liquid, but mine is old. These are the leftovers I still have, so I will make use of it. Now the reason why I do this is because I've had too many ESCs fail during winter time because of bad weather, and just some grass that came onto it, wet grass. And it killed my ESCs, a few of them. And they're not the cheapest component at all. So, better safe than sorry. Right, while the plastic dip is drying, let's mount the camera to these crappy camera mounts. Make sure the arrow is pointing up. Now I already installed this TPU cover, but it was not supplied with the kit. It's an Iflight product though. I typically fly at an angle of 25 degrees, so put this at 25, and then let's check it. That's approximately okay. Okay, let's put some tape. Plastic dip still isn't dry, but okay. Doesn't matter. Next, let's install this piece first, then slide the air unit in and continue from there. It's been a change in plans. I wanted to have this XT30 come out here, and it is possible, but I can't find a good way to secure my battery and to not over bend the battery lead. So this is what it ended up being. Let's mount this top plate. Been trying all kinds of setups for this connector, and this is the best way I found. Zip tied both leads. Problem is that it's very small to hold on to when unplugging the battery. But I guess it's okay. And the best way would have been to have this lead a bit longer and coming out here, so then you can hold it here and plug out the battery. I tried putting it from this side, but then the props are coming in too close.